What is going on, guys? Sirius here. Today's video we're going to be talking about some tips and tricks for winning zombie blood rush matches on Shadows of Evil. The point of this video is basically to just show off some of the top strategies we use whenever we're playing ZBR so that you can win more consistently and just have an overall better experience with the game mode on Shadows. Before we start, I just wanted to quickly explain how ZBR works for anyone who hasn't gotten a chance to play the game mode yet. Zombie Blood Rush, aka ZBR, is a Black Ops 3 Zombies game mode where your points are your health, and the goal of the game mode is to basically just kill other players and zombies until you reach 100,000 points. Once you get 100,000 points, you then have to survive for 2 minutes while holding it, while you fight off the enemy players trying their best to take you below the threshold. It's a really fun game mode. If you guys haven't already played it, I highly recommend you to give it a go. It's probably the only zombies experience that you're going to get to play where you get to shoot and kill other players, and PvP is really a big focus of this. I know there's a lot of things on the workshop that are like last man standing and things like that, and that's great, but I really think you should try out this game mode if you haven't already. I'm going to leave a link in the description to the workshop download. You just install it like any other mod. And I'm also going to leave a link to our Discord. We have a ZBR looking for group channel, and there's a bunch of other ZBR players in there, so if you're ever looking for a match and need to find a player, you can give that a go. Anyways, with that out of the way, let's go ahead and get started with the map of the day, Shadows of Evil. So to get started, I wanted to go over the spawning areas and the pros and cons of each area, along with the optimal way to get to Pack-a-Punch from each area. If you're familiar with Shadows of Evil, you probably remember that there are 4 districts on the map, and in ZBR you're going to spawn at one of the 4 districts randomly. The major goal in starting Shadows of Evil is to get to Pack-a-Punch as fast as possible. The line of thinking here is that Pack-a-Punch is going to get you ahead in almost all of your gun battles, and typically the first player to get to Pack-a-Punch has a significant advantage in any map in ZBR. Additionally, the Pack-a-Punch area has easy access to all the districts whenever the portals are open, and you also have access to Widow's Wine and the Sword, so it's just overall a great area to be in whenever you can. Anyways, let's go ahead and get started. So the first area we're going to look at is the Junction District, aka the original Shadows of Evil spawn. Obviously, you're going to have quick revive since it's the original spawn, and you're also going to have the RK5, but the major thing you're really going to want is the Shiva. The Shiva is really strong in ZBR. It's probably the best starting weapon, and I would just always, when you spawn here, just immediately kill a zombie and grab that starting weapon. You don't really have to worry about points because you don't have to open the first door. It's only 250, but you don't have to open it. You can just go straight up top, and the ritual sites are automatically completed in ZBR, so you can literally just go up here and jump down if you wanted to. Before we leave this area, I just wanted to mention this is actually a decent spot for 100k. There's only really one place where people can come in, and it's easy to get out because you can just run up top. I will say you can get grenaded pretty easily in here, so I typically don't use this for 100k, but it's a decent spot to just hold if you need like an extra 30 seconds or so to win. But anyway, back to the starting position. So this is a really nice spot up here. You can see every district more or less, and the entrances that they're going to have to Junction. You can see like a ton of stuff in Canal. You can kind of see Footlight. That's really where they're going to always come from if they don't come on bottom. There's also a glitch spot up there that I just looked at, but we won't worry about that for now. You can also kind of see Waterfront. You can see the Goblin Machine. You can see down there. You can see Stamina Up. So it's really just a crazy spot to be in. And I often use this to watch the tram whenever people use the tram, because the tram is one of those things that people use a lot in the starting area. And obviously, like I said, you can hop down here. There's a Goblin Machine there. It's KRM, which I don't really ever buy. And you can just go straight down here and go to Pack-a-Punch. You're going to pass by Mule Kick, but nobody ever uses Mule Kick. And you're going to immediately have access to the Sword Egg. I would always recommend grabbing that because it might take some time to set up, but it can be really strong if used correctly. And the upgraded sword can have some really nasty PvP effects for 100k, so just always grab that. Obviously though, Pack-a-Punch is the main focus, so make sure that you just laser focus Pack-a-Punch in the beginning of the game. So the second area I wanted to cover is going to be Canal. This is probably the second best spawn. You've got the M8 right there in the wall, which can be a nice starter weapon, although obviously you have a mystery box, so there's not really any reason to worry too much about wall weapons. If you come up here, you can just, there's a Gobblegun Machine right there, and importantly, there's access to the tram. Now the tram wasn't here in this game for me, but obviously you can just buy it and bring it over for about 500 points. And in that tram is going to be the bootlegger. The bootlegger is insane for headshot damage. It's probably one of those weapons that we overlook a lot, so just remember that that's an option. And if you look at this gate that I keep looking at, that gate is actually the only way out of this area for the most part. However, in ZBR, there is a knockback effect for explosive damage. So you can actually do something called a grenade jump, where you basically let a grenade get really close to detonating, throw it at the ground, and jump. And if you time it correctly, you can actually end up getting on top of this gate. It's a really difficult one, so I probably wouldn't have this be your first grenade jump. But when you get up there, you can just hop over, and that'll actually let you get out of the spawn area without having to pay for anything. And then if you just head over, that door will normally be closed, but we'll talk about that later. Just grab this beast mode, hop down here, and just break that open. And that'll give you a portal to go straight to Pack-a-Punch. So obviously that's like the ideal setup for Canal. But yeah, returning really quickly to the spawn for Canal, if you go up these stairs, there's going to be a gobblegum machine, and most importantly, there's the tram. Now, this is one of those things that I use almost every game. Obviously, you got your bootlegger, and you can change which direction you want to go. So you can go to either Waterfront or Footlight from here. And using the tram gives you a really unique opportunity because you're going to get the ability to basically drive by on the person in Junction. If they have not left their area, you're going to be able to see them up there and just absolutely dunk on them because 99% of the time people are not paying attention. They're not going to realize what you're doing. You can also get behind people at like Waterfront or Footlight. A lot of the times they're not going to be expecting the tram. Now, an experienced player is just going to camp the tram and dunk on you, but it's an option to use, and I use it a lot of the time if I don't want to get out of my area some other way. Now, the last thing I wanted to talk about before we leave Canal and go to the next area is this door at the start. That's normally closed, but you can just hop right over it whenever you want to get out of this area, so that's another way to leave. You can go straight to Pack-a-Punch through Junction if you do that, but that's just a more aggressive route. I typically use that, but it's a lot harder to get those 2 grenade jumps on the first round. Additionally, if you come up here, you're going to have a shield part, and you're also going to have a perk machine. Now, if you get lucky and you get double tap or jug, that can make a huge difference, because if you grab that before you leave this starting area, it's great. Also, you have a fuse there, so just remember to grab that, because the Silver Protector is PvP enabled in ZBR, and can be useful. It can attack other players, etc. You've also got this area in the back. You can use this for 100k. I don't really recommend it, but there is like a nice little spot over by this window. Apparently there's no clipping on this, so you can actually just shoot through this as if there were no glass, and other players are probably not going to be able to see you. This is like a glitch spot almost, but it's really strong, and I would just advise, you know, checking stuff like that out whenever you can. Now, this video is not going to show off a lot of spots like this, but that's just something I wanted to mention because when we were recording this, I found that and I thought it was really cool. Obviously, you've got your upstairs here, and the only reason I don't like holding this spot is because people will come up the stairs, and then to get out, you either have to go through them or you have to jump down. And the problem is when you jump down, you're going to take a lot of fall damage, and fall damage in ZBR is nasty. I mean, you're going to lose the majority of your points from that fall damage. So I would just not recommend using this area unless you absolutely have to. Moving on, we're going to go to Waterfront. Waterfront is probably the most underrated spot on this map by far. You've got trip mines, and inside the area we'll go to in a minute, you've actually got the Bowie knife, which is crazy. I mean, the Bowie knife is super strong and can be really useful. If you go up these stairs, you're going to be able to access a mystery box behind this gate. You've also got a fuse there. You got access to the tram, access to the gobblegum machine right there. So all your stuff is right in front of you. Now, the most optimal way to get out of this spawn, you need to use your beast mode first because you need to unlock somewhere. So you're just going to go down to the bottom of the docks and unlock this. That's going to open the room that has the Bowie knife in it. And then you're just going to go ahead and hop up on this like stage thing right here and just hop over the gates and unlock the portal right here. Because you're going to be able to just use grenade jumping to get over the gates. So in this clip, I'm going to show you me hopping over both gates. My first attempt did not go successfully, but I just want to kind of show you guys how grenade jumping is not a one and done deal. It does take a little bit of practice, so I would definitely get practicing. And every area is a little different. Obviously, you see there, I'm not like over the gate. I'm like inside the gate. It's really weird in this area. Then you get that second jump and you're straight over it. You've got your portal straight to Pack-a-Punch, and you're good to go. Now, I do also want to mention, like, you've got a mystery box over here and another gobblegum machine. So this is actually really good for cycling out weapons and gums, because a lot of areas do not have access to 2 mystery boxes and 2 gobblegum machines. And if you include your easy access through the portal to get to the 3rd set, then you're really set up. So that's just something to be aware of. This is also a really great area to hold 100k. I'll show off that strategy in a second. If you come up here, you're going to have access to a shield part, another perk. Obviously, I got Jug in this game, which was really lucky. You're going to have one of your statues for building the sword. So overall, Waterfront just has like a lot of utility to it. And when I respawn here, you're going to see that I'm going to show you this 100k spot. This is actually one of the areas I use for what is called a PvE 100k win. So this is where you basically just farm zombies like crazy, basically get as many zombie kills as possible, farm points, and just get completely set up to where you lead the other players in points so far that they just have no hope of taking you down. Now, obviously, there's still strategies to take you out, but if you're aware of them, you can kind of manipulate this area and have a really strong spot to just hold for 100k. You just leave this door in front of you closed, and as long as you leave that door closed, this area is crazy for holding a PvE 100k. Typically, most players are going to use a PvP 100k, so you can also kind of catch people off guard by using that PvE 100k strategy. Just something to be aware of. Additionally, if you look at this spot that I'm looking through right there, you're going to notice that you've got a really nice line of sight into the spawn. You can see that gobblegum machine, Footlight, and a lot of players will just not expect you to be on that balcony. So if you grab like a sniper or like, like a Draken or something like that, you can do some really nice damage from this spot. I would just be careful, because when you've got a really high zombie count, a lot of the time it's not going to work that well. So maybe grab yourself like in plain sight or one of those gobblegums so that you can get a really nice clean shot on somebody from that balcony. You've also got your M8 there, but again, I don't really recommend the M8 when you've got a mystery box right there. So that's pretty much it for this area. I just wanted to show you guys kind of all those features, because Waterfront may seem like a bad spawn at first, but when you get used to it, Waterfront's probably one of my favorite spawns, if not my favorite spawn on this map. Now, of course, that leaves the final district, Footlight, and I'm going to be honest with you guys, I hate Footlight. Footlight is basically the worst spawn in ZBR. Now, you do have access to a mystery box, like right next to you. You've got a gobblegum machine up here, and there's a nice little glitch spot I'll show off in a second, but other than that, I mean, I almost always take the tram from the spawn. It's just not a good spawn. You're going to be better off just trying to fight somebody else and take over their district than dealing with Footlight, because there's a way out of here. It's not really that bad. You're basically going to do a grenade jump here. Sorry for the cut, I missed the first jump, but once you get up on top of this telephone box, you're just going to throw another grenade, and you're going to hold back and left, and you're going to go over this gate right here and hop down, and then you're just going to go grab a beast mode and open the portal. Now, the reason I focus on getting out of here so fast is there's just not a lot of features in Footlight. It's really just like being a fish in a barrel waiting for other players to come to you. I mean, you've got a perk spawn up here that could be really useful. You've got your mystery box. There's a shield part. If you look down here over the ledge, you're going to see that there's actually a gobblegum machine right there as well. But obviously you have to do your grenade jump, and it's just not ideal. Footlight is just a really simplistic district, and that unfortunately makes it the worst spot to spawn. But there is a nice little glitch spot over here that you can do. I basically only use this in duos, but if you throw a grenade and hop on top of the like shrouding here, you can go up and over, and if you sprint really quickly, you can get over to the tram and get on top of it. And this allows you to have a nice little line of sight here. Players will almost never expect you to be here. If they see your marker for 100k, they're going to expect you to be inside the tram. So this is a nice little spot to just kind of have a bird's eye view over the whole area. So that's pretty much it in terms of the starting area coverage. The rest of the video is going to be me briefly covering the sword and how to build it, and then the best weapons to use on this map, as well as some of my tips for like end game flow, kind of getting to 100k and holding it. So if you've never built the sword before, you're just going to hop down here to Pack-a-Punch, and back here there are going to be eggs. And keep in mind this is only for ZBR, because there's an extra step in the main map. You're going to break open these statue boxes. There's 4 of them. There's one in each district. I just showed you the one at the bottom of Pack-a-Punch. I'm going over really quickly to Waterfront to go open this one, because it's the only one I had open in this game. And you're going to basically just put the egg at each statue and fill them with souls. So the first one is at Pack-a-Punch right there. I just put my egg in it. Once you kill enough zombies, it's going to glow, and you're just going to go ahead and grab it and move to the next spot. If you die while holding your egg, you can actually just retrieve it from the original spot you got it at, and it's going to keep its progress. So however far you had it, it's going to stay at that percent of progress, so you don't have to worry about that. The next spot I'm going to show is at Footlight, right here by the Vesper. You don't have to do this in any particular order, you just do them in whatever order you can, and I would obviously avoid doing it in the same district as where other players are, because they will come and stop you and it will just be miserable. The third spot is going to be at Waterfront here by the perk machine. Obviously I showed this one before when I was unlocking it, but this is probably the worst spot, so I would just get this last in my opinion. But it depends on how many zombies you have spawning. That's typically always the problem with this one, is that there's just not a lot of zombies around it, but you just have to play around with that and kind of get used to the order that you like. The final spot is here at Canal on the back end by the original spawn, and once you get all 4 eggs done, head back down to where you grabbed the egg originally and just hold interact on the sword holders, and you're going to go ahead and get your sword. Now, you can use this version of the sword. It's pretty strong on its own, but I almost always upgrade my sword. And upgrading it's really easy, but it will take a minimum of 4 rounds depending on how efficient you are. Really quickly, before we move on, I'm going to just show you how this sword attacks players. You can use your right slam, but obviously I always use the swipe. It's pretty effective against players, but the only reason it killed him so fast was because he didn't have a lot of points. If you're fighting anyone with a reasonable amount of points, you're just going to get dunked on. So I would always just upgrade the sword. And the way you're going to do that is you're going to have to go back to the location that is for your respective character. The magician has to go to the original starting room at Junction. The boxer has to go to the boxing gym. The detective, who I'm on, has to go to the canal room. And Jessica has to go to the Footlight area. Once you head over to your respective ritual area, you're going to notice that a keeper is going to be holding an egg. You just grab that new egg, and you're going to basically have to go to these 4 circles around the map and kill Margwas. I'll show you the 4 locations. You can do them in any order, but you can only do 1 per round. There's one right there, so that's obviously the first one I did, and you can just spawn trap the Margwas if you have a shotgun or a ray gun or something like that. I failed to do it there, but you can actually get all 3 heads in one go. The first one that you do is going to have 1 Margwa, and the second, third, and fourth are going to have 2 each. If you die or down while doing this step, it is going to cancel it, and you're going to have to restart from that same number of ritual spots until you complete all 4. Now, the second location I'm going to show you is right here in the middle of Junction. It's right by the Gobble machine. You place your egg, and 2 Margwas are going to spawn. And as you can see in this clip, I was actually able to spawn trap one of them. I couldn't get both. You can get both if you're really fast and you get the right order, but it's really hard to do that, and you almost always need a full auto shotgun and double tap or a ray gun. The third location is going to be at the back of Footlight. You're going to come over here by the theater and just drop it right here in the center. The final location is down here at Waterfront. You just drop it in the middle there, and that's going to be all of your eggs. Once all of your eggs are done, you can go back to where you originally picked up the egg, and the keeper is going to hand you the upgraded sword. Now, we just went through all this hassle. What are the benefits of the upgraded sword, you're asking? Well, the upgraded sword is going to have a much stronger swipe. It's going to do a lot more damage, and on top of that, the upgraded sword is going to have a different heavy attack that will let you deploy it, and it will actually seek out players and zombies. So if you watch, it just absolutely demolished Kai. Now, players can shoot the sword, and it takes very little damage to make it return to you, but you can just redeploy it, and it uses not a lot of energy, so it's kind of nice. Now, if I'm being totally honest, I almost never use the sword, but it is kind of a fun gimmick, and it can be really strong whenever you have 100k. So if you're having trouble holding 100k and you're looking for that final little bit of edge to get over your competitors, well, there's your answer. Now, the final thing I wanted to talk about before we move on to winning strategies is the beast mode. You can actually use the grapple attack on other players, and this can really mess them up. You can zap them, you can melee them, and it doesn't do a lot of damage, but it can really disorient them and just kill them by having them get stuck in a horde of zombies. They can shoot you back and drain your energy, but most of the time, they're not going to be expecting a beast mode, and it's really hard to track the beast mode. I wish I had a clip of it, but my friend Snow's favorite thing to do is to go into beast mode at the start of every single round, head straight down to Pack-a-Punch, and try to grapple off anyone who's inside that room. And it works like 75% of the time, which is hilarious because you grapple them, pull them off the edge, and boom, they're done for that round. Doesn't matter how many points they had, they hit a death barrier, all their perks are gone. It's brutal. So that is one thing to be aware of, and that is a strategy that you can leverage against your friends. It's actually hilarious to grab a first-time player and just pull them off the map, but the rest of this video is going to be me just talking. I feel bad for anyone who's like a visual learner and needs visual elements. I'm sorry, I'm just not an editor who has that type of ability to just do all of that. I don't know how to do any of that stuff, so mainly the rest of the video is just going to be talking about the weapons, the best weapons in ZBR, and then kind of talking about some final strategies, some overall strategies for Shadows of Evil, and then that'll be it for the video. I'll try not to keep it going too much longer because it's already been 20 minutes. In the background, I've just got some gameplay from an old recorded video that I had. It's Ams, myself, and I think Feb, maybe Kai is one of the two, and then Snow. If you guys are interested in watching the full version of this, I'll leave a link in the description to an unlisted video with just the full gameplay. It can be helpful for you to watch some of these games because you can see some of the stuff that I didn't mention in this video, some of our little tactics that we do, and that can just be something useful for you. So anyway, let's go ahead and talk about the best weapons on here. There's not a lot of talk. It's basically just a list of weapons that I think are probably the strongest and you should always gun straight for. So the first weapon is obviously going to be the Shiva. Shiva's great for early game, but I would move off of it as fast as possible to a shotgun. The Brecci and the Haymaker are probably the strongest weapons on this map, and I don't know why I'm even saying probably. They are undisputedly the best weapons on this map. The only thing that can even rival it is the Ray Gun and the Wunderwaffe. The Ray Gun is just an excellent gun. Just make sure you're always hitting a direct impact with the Ray Gun because the splash damage does less than the direct impact. So if you're like just spam spraying at somebody, you're not going to do a lot. And also be aware that danger closest will completely negate the ray gun. So if someone has danger closest, just be aware that you don't want to have two explosive weapons. But the Brecci and the Haymaker with double tap are pretty much unstoppable. The Apothecant Servant is also on this map. It does well. It will suck the enemy players in and basically do zone control. And if you just spam it, you can take somebody from 100k out really fast. But it's just not really the best weapon because there's a lot of ways to avoid it. You can get out of the suction by just using a grenade or explosive jump, and it's just, I don't know, I like it when I get it. Sometimes it's fun to play with it, but I would say you really want a shotgun or a ray gun or something like that. The Apothecant Servant's just kind of a meme gun at some points, and it also can cause instability because when you're spectating, you're going to have times where the like effects from the Apothecant Servant don't really go away, and that can get really annoying and kind of break your game. So the Apothecant Servant's just, it's a meme gun, pretty much. Like I already mentioned, the Wunderwaffe is pretty strong. It has the same thing going as the ray gun, where direct impacts are going to do more than splash damage. But if you direct impact with the Wunderwaffe, it's devastating. It can take somebody from 150k to 100k instantly, so it's really useful. I would also say the XM53 is probably one of the best weapons on this map. The only caveat to that is, again, it's an explosive weapon. So people running danger closest, which I almost always run danger closest on this map, they're going to be completely immune to it. And if it lasts 4 rounds, it can be cycled, so it's really hard to just run a primary explosive. That's why it's good as like a backup weapon or something that you need to like get somebody off 100k really fast, but if you're really relying on it to win, it's not a great idea. Then the final notable gun that I wanted to mention is going to be the Draken. The Draken is just insane. It's really strong. It's got great range. The only counter to it is really the Shiva and just playing in close quarters. Shadows of Evil is kind of like a double-edged sword. There's a lot of really long lines of sight, but there's also a lot of really close alleyways, so shotguns and long-range weapons can be good in different places on this map. Personally, when I play, I shoot for either a shotgun and a Draken, or a shotgun and an explosive weapon. And the reason is because 99% of your engagements on Shadows are going to be in close quarters. Almost all of your PvP holding spots are going to be in close quarters. Really, the only place you have long-range engagements are going to be like up here where I'm camping right here in this video clip, and then like maybe across Junction, Canal, you can get some nice lines of sight. Waterfront, if you camp that top area, you can get some long lines of sight, but it's a lot rarer. And then obviously Pack-a-Punch. And outside of that, it's basically just a shotgun map. So I really, really, really recommend just grabbing a Brecci or a Haymaker. You can run 2 shotguns and just have both of them, but again, that's not really advisable because if you do run into one of those long-range scenarios or run into someone with explosives, you're going to lose. So it's always good to have that second area for variety. But anyway, that's 5 minutes of talking about weapons. It's really not that complicated of a subject. As for winning strategies, the goal in Shadows of Evil is to basically just play stock ZBR rules. I haven't released a video for like tips and tricks for just general ZBR yet. Maybe I have by the time you're watching this video, who knows? Just check on my channel and see. You just want to play this map like a typical ZBR map. You want to grab Pack-a-Punch and upgrade your weapons first, then worry about perks, and then worry about gobblegums. And as long as you do things in that order, you hold off the center of the map from other players, and you just kind of run things and be extremely careful of what other players are doing, you're almost always going to win. For holding 100k, the goal on this map is to just move. Just stay in constant movement and just keep moving, keep moving, keep moving. I will say, do not spam the portals. The portals are going to take time off of your objective time. So that's something to be aware of, and that's actually the theme for almost every map that has portals or fast movement options. If you abuse that kind of stuff, your timer is going to go back down, and it's going to make your 100k a lot longer. You also are not going to be able to move your 100k while you're in beast mode, so that's something to consider. You can't just grab beast mode and run across the map and wait for your timer to go up. Stopping other players from winning is also something to be aware of. They're also going to be abusing movement mechanics. Not a lot of people are going to try to hold off an area unless they're really well set up. So you need some way to get to them. So get really familiar with the movement option of this map. Make sure you always have all the portals open so that you can hunt them down no matter where they are. Make sure you try to get rid of their option to use the tram if you can. So like if you're by the tram when they get 100k, just buy it and send it so they can't use it. Just be constantly aware of what the other players are going to be trying to do, and you're going to win this 9 times out of 10. Anyways, guys, that's going to wrap up the first video that I've ever done for ZBR tips and tricks. Let me know if you guys enjoyed it. Let me know if it was too long, if there was some information in here that you wish I had said that I didn't, or if there was some information in here that you feel like was kind of repetitive or unnecessary, and we'll kind of work on the runtime and lengths of this. I don't know if every map is going to be this long. I hope not. I'd like for videos to be less than 15 minutes, but, you know, there's a lot of information to go over, and I really feel like it's better to make a longer video and have more information in this type of video than it is to just kind of cram things, rush, and skip over important steps. Anyways, that's probably it for me. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video, and I will see you in the next one. I'm just better. Dies immediately. By the way, run whenever your blast furnace sprite.
Well. Takes forever to switch weapons, is the issue.
Oh, you're in teleport. Interesting.
Oh, okay. Guys.
I have no fucking ammo, so I'm just gonna die. I really do not want 100k right now. Is that undead man walking? Come on.
Yeah, for real. Come on.
Actual fucking loser.
He just never used an actual bubblegum pack ever.
Okay, dude. Come on.
Get real.
Get real.
Dude went back through it. I should have shot a black hole right there. Why are you doing this to me?
What?
Somebody's black holing me. Here, I'll do it back.
I heard the blast furnace sound. Oh, wait, no.
I thought it crashed. I got connection interrupted
Oh.
as soon as it fucking happened.
Wow, we actually completed a Shadows game? What the fuck?
That was fast too.
That's why we didn't crash.
GG.